I'll say that this 650cc do justice when it comes to this format, the GT format, than the Interceptor, than the Meteor 650. I like this engine on the GT because... What's up people, so this is the latest edition Royal Enfield GT650, the 2023 edition. So majorly there are not much mechanical changes on this motorcycle from the previous variant, but this has got a really new looks and some additions as well. So this review is going to be in 3 parts. First I'll talk about what are the additions on this motorcycle, and second my feel about the additions, and third a general review about it. So let me walk you through the additions first. First of all, it gets an Meteor 650 headlight, the LED headlight. Now we are getting it. So as I mentioned in the Interceptor review, the headlight throw is not as great as the halogen before as it was. This is kind of okay, that's my personal feedback. And the second thing, the most desirable thing on this motorcycle is the alloy wheels with tubeless tires. So road guys will be happy with it. And the all black variant now. Now there are very less chrome elements on this motorcycle. So I saw many comments on my post that taking away chrome from Royal Enfield is actually like taking away the essence of the GT or the Interceptor. So in my opinion, there are many people who are actually struggling to maintain chrome. So in that way, what I'll say is that actually the de-chromed version or the powdered coated version is also a good choice. Those who don't want it to clean the motorcycle every day to make it shiny. This one is like just needs some maintenance on a weekly basis and you can maintain it very easily. And the third update you got on this motorcycle is the caution lamp. Basically it's not just the caution lamp, we get all switch gears from the Meteor 650, a copy paste thing that generally Enfield do with many motorcycles. And here we get USB charger and an adjustable lever. So these are the updates on this motorcycle, the latest GT650. Now let's look into the general review about the motorcycle. So first of all, let's comment on the looks. Personally, I'll say that this GT, the de-chromed one or the powder coated one, looks way much good than the previous version. I don't know, like this is just in my eyes. Many people love that chrome element. In my eyes at least, I like this more than the chrome version, and it is subjective. And Royal Enfield actually offers the same variant now as well, so you don't have to worry about it. You can go and purchase it. I think this is a little more expensive than the chrome variant, but you have both options available. So from the front we get the new Vredestein tire. So compared to the Interceptor was getting a Seat tire, which was not great at all. I'll talk about this in detail when we go for the ride review. And brakes are same as the Interceptor setup, much beginner friendly brakes, very comfortable to use. Suspension travel is not that great, so if you're on highway going in straight roads, good tarmac, then the suspension is a happy thing for you. Otherwise it bottoms out really easily. And coming on to this side, look at the tank, man. I really love the color of that tank, that shiny gray with that orange stripes on it. It looks so good. I mean, I don't know, like I'm falling in love with this motorcycle just because of the color scheme itself. Here we can see the 650cc, the huge 650cc, which is much sweeter. In my eyes, I'll say that this 650cc do justice when it comes to this format, the GT format, than the Interceptor, than the Meteor 650. I like this engine on the GT because this has a more commanding riding postures. When you open the throttle and you get that feel, you're not in a cruise mode, you're not in a street bike mode, you are in that sports cafe racer mode. In that way, I'll say that the GT does a lot of justice to the engine and the power delivery of this motorcycle. And here we have the seat. So the seat is actually unlike the Interceptor. This has a little bit of a scoop seat with separation for the pillion seat. In my eyes, what I'll say is that the seat is kind of okay. I mean, good for shorter rides, but when it comes to longer rides, the cushioning is not good as well. The seat is actually long but not wide. So here we'll see the exhaust now, the powder coated version of the exhaust. I love it. And the tail section, again, I feel like they should have given something else because it looks a little bit of boring from this side, because this tail light and the indicators actually suit for the classic 350, the older models, not for this one. Let's get on the motorcycle now. So basically, yeah, it's not a tall motorcycle, not at all. You can see that I have planted foot. This side I have a stone. One problem I faced with the Interceptor 650 is that when I was keeping my leg like that, the foot peg was actually coming and touching my calf area. On this one it's not like that. The foot peg is little reset, so that's the cafe racer feel. And from this angle, the motorcycle actually looks very classy. You have that clip-on setup. When you start owning this motorcycle, every day you're gonna love this motorcycle from this looks. I'm pretty sure about it. To walk you through the switches on the handlebar, here we have the high beam, low beam and the pass switch, indicator and the horn. This side, engine kill switch and the caution, basic things. And we have a USB port here, adjustable lever on both sides, and pretty much outdated dash over here. Yeah, I don't want to go through this dash again and again every year. Honestly, Royal Enfield, please do something about this. Here we have the speedometer, the tachometer, the fuel level indicator, which is still not accurate, and one odometer and two trip meter. Basic. So that's all from outside about the GT650. Now let's go for a ride and talk things. Alright, we are back on road. Wow, what a relaxation. Yeah, let's talk about the engine first. So first of all, you might be knowing that I might have explained this engine during many reviews. Basically the first version of 650 and the Meteor and the Interceptor. So yes, the engine is actually pretty much same, but there is something different with the GT. So the engine is actually a cruiser type of engine. So what I meant by that statement is that the engine actually gives you a little bit of mellow feel. It's not too quick. It is much easy. It has a little bit of that torquey feel in the beginning, and it flats out in the top. So if you compare all of the 650s, they are not like that. I mean, we have the Z650 from Kawasaki, which is much torquier, much faster engine. It can go to 200, I mean 180, 200 in like no time. This is not like that. And we have the CBR 650R and the 650F, which is an inline 4 650, which has an altogether different graph, how it powers and all. It's like 0 to 200 much quicker, and it's much comfortable to ride at 160 to 200 as well. So compared with all of the 650, this is a much lighter side of a 650. But the thing is, when you get this kind of an ergonomics with the GT650, you are actually sitting like hugging the tank. Even with the legs or with your hand, you're having the entire weight just under your chest. So the advantage is you're actually taking up that whole weight of the motorcycle as an advantage to steer the motorcycle. The motorcycle is not riding you, you are actually riding the motorcycle. So that's the difference. So even then I say that, be it highway cruising or be it inside city riding, you have to tuck down a little bit. Only one thing is, like, if you're planning to buy this motorcycle, just keep in mind that you have to maintain a correct posture. If you are in the initial days, most probably people do this mistake that they tend to put a lot of pressure onto the handlebar. So just Google some video where how you can ride a sports motorcycle comfortably. Even I have made that video. So just get those tips and get into the right ergonomics. It's a little sporty. The foot peg is a little backwards. You can actually extract the fun of the engine. So yes, on the highway you get to ride this motorcycle easily. Now we are in 80 km/h speed. You can go up to 160. That's what I have done in the morning. But you know, there are few other things as well, because till 100 I'm kind of confident on this motorcycle, and at 120 the motorcycle actually starts wobbling. It's not actually wobble, it's like drifting, left and right, it's drifting. I was feeling this kind of a wobble even bad in Interceptor 650. It was coming with Seat tire. This is pedestrian is much more easy. So when you have crosswinds, the motorcycle actually keep drifting left and right. I don't understand why it is. So at 120, if you have crosswinds, it is gonna drift like that. At one point I didn't had any crosswinds, and I did 160 without any effort, without any problem. And when it comes to the brakes, in my opinion, this is much beginner friendly brake. It is very easy to use. Even though this is a heavy motorcycle, you can just control this motorcycle only with the front brake. I rarely use my rear brake. So this is a sporty riding stance. You have to use more of your front brake. Coming on to the clutch is actually onto a heavier side, just like any other 650 Enfield, and the gearbox feels much smoother. So this is what I calculate from this. So I've ridden Enfields which has been done around 30,000, 40,000 kilometers, and sometimes I feel the gearbox is clunky and the gear shifting is hard. So if you maintain the chain well, then I believe that there is no trouble in shifting gears. You can easily shift it even when you're wearing a chappal. But I strongly suggest don't wear a chappal and ride this motorcycle, because your feet will come and touch the engine. And also, this is one point which I forgot to mention. So when you're riding this motorcycle in the sports riding stance, and with my height, actually my legs are going and touching the engine. So there is a small protector over here. I don't know why Enfield keep this. It should have been a plate as such. It shouldn't be a protector. It shouldn't be that wide kind of a protector. If it's a plate, then it actually stops. This is an indicator that you have reached your limit. Don't hug too much. So with my height, with my low body height, what I'll say is that my knee correctly comes and touches the engine, which is not a good thing in terms of ergonomics. If it would have been come here, then it would have been nice. Now to talk about the other things. The major update we got is the tubeless tire. I honestly welcome this update, because you know, it's an Enfield, that too a heavier Enfield. You cannot give this motorcycle to any other puncture shop to get your puncture fixed. So having a tubeless tire setup is always better. One thing is the air doesn't leak so faster. Second thing is, if you have the puncture kit by yourself, you can fix it, go to the next fuel station and fill the air. That's it. And to talk about the suspension feel, the suspension is actually onto a normal side. It's not too tight, neither too soft, but the thing is the travel is very less. So if you plan to ride this motorcycle just like a normal adventurous 150cc motorcycle, that means you don't really care about the potholes on the road, you're just running through it, most probably you'll end up bottom outing the suspension, the front one. The rear one is kind of okay, that's what I feel, because I'm actually putting a lot of weight onto the front section, so I believe the rear is actually acting perfectly fine. I don't have any trouble with it. So now let's look at the ownership part. So this motorcycle actually comes for around 4,20,000 for this color variant, which I feel like it is a little bit onto an expensive side. Like more than 4 lakh, you are actually opening up yourself to a different genre of motorcycles, but you don't get any other cafe races. That's also one thing. So I'll say that it's kind of an okay pricing if you are looking onto a cafe racer. And the motorcycle actually goes for service once in 10,000 kilometers, costing something like 2,500 rupees. And the mileage which I was getting when I was riding the same motorcycle, the 650 GT, the last time was 22 to 25 inside city and 25 to 28 on highways. So that in that sense, I'll say that this returns a good mileage in that 650cc category. Now let's come to the verdict. So first of all, let me tell you, if you are looking onto this motorcycle, you should have the love towards sports motorcycles, the cafe racers. Then you come to this motorcycle. Otherwise, you'll tell that you are sitting on something. I just gave this motorcycle to someone and they were telling that, okay, you sit somewhere and after 1 kilometer you have the handlebar. Don't complain about it. You go and buy an Interceptor. That's what I'll say. You can have the same engine. Or if you want to be relaxed, go and buy the Meteor 650. But if you love the sports riding and wanted to use this kind of a little bit of torquey engine on a cafe racer setup, this is a very good motorcycle because the handling of the motorcycle is too good. That's what I like with this. You might have heard about the GT Cup. Why GT Cup? Why there is no Interceptor Cup or a Meteor 650 Cup? Because these are race motorcycles, man. That's why this is meant for racing. So you have that sporty riding feel on this. The one and only Royal Enfield which has this kind of a sporty riding feel. I mean, the 535 was there, but after that, this is the only motorcycle in the Royal Enfield fleet which you can actually do a road racing. What I meant by that is that I really don't want you guys to go and race out there, but you know, this gives you a racing bike feel. Now let's categorize. If you're someone who's learning and who's upgrading from a scooter and all, still like any other Enfield review, I'll suggest you to take some lessons on a 150cc motorcycle or get some experience on some other smaller Enfields like a 350 for around 6 months and then get onto this. You'll enjoy the motorcycle. But this comes out on the hand. I think we're still in the Flintstones age. Hinge setup is not yet found. Thanks. Still the fuel gauge is telling that there is no fuel. It takes some time to identify that I've fueled it up. Oh man, open road. You see that? No trouble, no wobbling, nothing, because there was no crosswind. Alright, so we were actually talking about the verdicts. Let's see the other set of people who are upgrading from 150cc, some sports motorcycle, say R15. Yes, you're gonna love this. But if you are coming from R15, you might feel that this is going to be very heavy, taking U-turns and things will be very difficult. And also inside city, you might feel a little bit of heating issues, but there won't be any ground clearance issues. No worries about it. But yeah, you have to be prepared for that. And if you are looking for a touring motorcycle, then this is a different genre of touring because it's a heavyweight sports touring. You can do that. You can easily cruise at a speed of 100 to 120, no issues. You might find a little bit of difficulties in keeping the luggage, but you can have saddlebags. Make sure that it is not touching the exhaust pipes, that's all. But altogether, I'll say that this is a lovely motorcycle. So my humble request to people who gonna buy this motorcycle is that buy this if you're having this kind of a love towards cafe racing. Otherwise, once you start riding this motorcycle, you'll start getting pain on your wrist, on your back, and even in your heart. You might think that why did you buy this motorcycle? But if you love sports riding, love cafe racing, definitely you are not going to regret at all. So that's my review about the GT650. I hope this video is helpful for you. Personally, I feel that this review was from my heart because whenever I come to this kind of a genre, I feel like, yeah, this is my thing and I should judge it properly. So yes, feeling so happy to ride this motorcycle. So I hope this video is helpful for you, and as always, show some love in the form of likes and comments. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.